My name is Derrick Fishback, and I'm a retired colonel from the U.S. Army. And I'm also a graduate of the Skill Bridge program hosted by the Department of Defense. I'm here this afternoon to talk to you about it. I'd like to give a special welcome to all the vendors, vendors, service members, and corporate attendants who are at the function so that they have the ability to understand what from the Skill Bridge program is about. There's a much more involved discussion that goes along, but there's a great value to the Skill Bridge program for the service member and for the employer. So we'll talk a little bit about that as we go through this expo. I'll talk about my journey in particular because it started more than 5 years ago when I first penned on Colonel, and I realized I had two courses I had to take. I was either going to make a general or I was going to be retired by the time 2020 hit. So I had a lot to think about. But my 3-year journey began in 2018 when I came to Florida on my last assignment, and I realized that I had to make some choices. So I was up for consideration for promotion, but I needed to have a plan in case that didn't come through. So I attended a Hiring Our Heroes job fair in 2018 and heard about a fellowship. And I knew what fellowships were because I had one before, but I didn't know about this one in particular. And it was a corporate fellowship. And a corporate fellowship is important because it offers you the opportunity to learn about corporate industry, get valuable career transition experience, but also get a personal experience about exactly where do you want to go and what do you want to do in life. And I thought that was kind of important. So I did my research, found out Hiring Our Heroes was offering an opportunity, but it wasn't here in Florida. It was actually in Atlanta, Georgia. And so I applied, got accepted, and waited out, and then got picked up by IBM Corporation to begin the fellowship. What SkillBridge does is offer you 12 weeks of an opportunity to learn not just about corporate industry, but about career opportunities and or garner skills that will assist you in transitioning. So I spent those 12 weeks in Atlanta, Georgia, working at IBM Corporation on a particular project on artificial intelligence. Didn't know much about artificial intelligence, but I had a technology background and I needed to come up to speed pretty quickly. So I did that for 12 weeks. And after those 12 weeks, actually during those 12 weeks, I later got picked up to work in my current position in Amazon Web Services. And this is just a disclaimer. This is not a plug for Amazon Web Services, and I won't be diving into a lot about what they do. But it was a wonderful opportunity that they offered me because of my time at IBM doing that internship. And so having gone through the interview process, got hired by them and went to work for them in 2020. But I don't think I would have had that opportunity had I not began the skill bridge process. I think it's important to understand that you have to plan for it, and it's got to be part of your journey as a service member. It's an opportunity that's presented by DoD that you can fully take advantage of. It's not necessarily a right, but it is an entitlement that's there that you can maximize working with your command and working with the organization that's offering you the fellowship. There are several aspects of ways of doing it, but you need to have a discussion with your leadership about what it's about. And then know what you want to do and where and why. You don't have to know all the details about what you want to do, but it's good to have an idea. Some guys say, hey, I want to do project management, but I'm like, there's 1,000 different things you can do in project management. What does that really represent? Some folks say, I want to get into technology, but there's a huge bandwidth of what getting into technology really means. And I think you really have to sit down and decide exactly where you want to go, how you want to do it. Because that's what I did. I knew I wanted to do cloud computing and cybersecurity. So I went off and I did research on what those to do those. And I just happened to work for a cloud computing company. And that was kind of a good resounding way to be in my career. My window was pretty tight. I retired in February, but my transition process started in November of the year before. So I got the 12-week fellowship. At the end of the 12-week fellowship, so the end of November, then I got hired by Amazon Web Services in December and started work in April 2020. But I kind of knew what I wanted to do, and I drove in that direction. And you really do have to know what you want to do and put it to paper. It doesn't have to be very specific, but you got to put it to paper and know why you want to do it. Why? Well, if you're going to approach someone about a fellowship or approach one of the fellowship programs, if you're going to commit 12 weeks of your time, You'll be able to validate that, but not just your command, but with yourself and your family. Because that's 12 weeks of your time you got to spend learning about a corporation, the transition career-wise, how to deal with civilian employers and what their expectations are. So it's good to know what you want to do, and not just some place just to hang out and just see, well, just feel it out. Secondly, the program is designed for you and to begin your personal journey and transition from the military into civilian work. And that's not an overnight light switch. That is an actual, no kidding, journey. And so SkillBridge allows you the opportunity to learn a professional skill set, transition to a career that maybe you would like to continue and pursue on a different path, and also gives you personal time to adjust to being in a civilian workforce. I think that's one of the things that you have to really to focus on. The other aspect is like the third point is what happens after. It's not a matter of just getting the fellowship and learning a skill set and transitioning to a civilian job. It's actually a full next journey that you have to put on paper. I always tell people all the time, think 3 to 5 years ahead. If I do this and continue on this road, where do I want to be? And you got to plan for that and on paper, uh, where you think you might wind up and where do you like to take your family, because they're the riders on this journey with you. You no longer have a company, an air wing, ship, a platoon, a battalion, a brigade, or division. You have you and your family, and that's where you're driving to make sure that they are balanced in the pursuit of these things. The other thing I actually consider is that it's not just a light switch. You pick the company you want to work for, or the organization or area that you want to go into. You really should do the research, because there's always people like you who are pursuing it just as well as you are. And to be competitive, you got to really should know what you're trying to dive into and spend time with. Again, that's part of your career journey. Um, you also got to look at ways of filling the gap. People say, what does that mean by filling the gap? The fourth point to this is the ability to understand the military prepared you to lead and to function and to drive in areas of, of difficulty, but also become mission and success oriented. Those are great tangible skill sets, and they're great skill sets to utilize. But practical skill sets are what you need in certain industries. So if you want to go into technology, it's best to learn about technology certifications. If you want to do human resources or you want to do a hard labor skill, it's good to know what those credentialing requirements are and to move in that direction. And there are great organizations that offer that, and there's great amounts of research also out there to help you support that. I always tell people all the time, go to Onward to Opportunity, one of the best organizations I see that offers you a ton of ability to get certifications and or credentialing that is free. Your services, whether you're Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Coast Guard, they also offer great amounts of ability to do credentialing through your education programs. And it's stated as being credentialing. And it's also, they'll pay for it if you talk to them about it. But you have to do the homework and figure out which one you really need and want to pursue. There are tons of free programs now through universities that offer training. I always highlight the University of West Florida cybersecurity program because it's free. If you're a transitioning service member, you sign up for it, you get a background in training in two areas. One is cybersecurity, but the other is the actual technical side of computing. So you get an A+ certification, and they drive you in that direction, but you have to sign up for it and research it. There are also veteran training programs like the project management training programs at PT, Vets to PM, which gives you project management training skills. 9 times out of 10, if you're a leader in the military, you're managing a project of some sort. And those hours and that time counts towards certifications and or program management. And those things really help you also. I would say that you need to spend time researching these things to help you drive through that. Why is it important? Here's the reason why. When I began my journey, I realized that I was a colonel and I may have 2 master's degrees, but I wasn't competitive against a 16-year-old or a 17-year-old that had more skill sets in cybersecurity than I did. So I had to go off and research what cybersecurity certifications were necessary to have, what skill sets do I need to pursue, and then how do I get the training for that? Well, the military offered an opportunity for that training, so why not just take it? So it was free because of my background, so I went ahead and did that. But also, I logged in and realized that companies like Amazon or Cisco offer online training for vets that you can maximize, and you should dive into those also. Case in point, I'll show you, if I could, a a slide that represents that kind of training, skill sets that are available. Again, these are no-cost programs that run for you. That's UWF's Education for Cybersecurity, R1 Opportunities. If you are a service member who's transitioning or a service member that's already transitioned, you have instant access to FED VTE courses that are free to you to have access to. There's also a link that's out there from militarytransition.org. That's out there also for you to utilize. USO Pathfinder is one of the best organizations I've ever worked with that will help you get on the course to transition, whether you're retiring or whether you're moving into another field, will help you do that. But they also offer free training that's associated with Skillsoft and with Precipio, which is free trainings for veterans to get certain certifications. There's Vets PM on the Skill Bridge, and of course, my all-time favorite for cybersecurity, which is SANS.org. All these organizations offer free training and opportunity programs for veterans to get credentialed. You have to be competitive. That's really what it comes down to. Usually in the military, we promote, you meet the requirements, you get promoted, and you drive in that direction. But in civilian industry, to be competitive, to have the discussion, you've got to have the ability to have what I call tickets to the conversation. Certifications and credentials are tickets to a conversation. They really are. It says, hey, I'm actually very interested in the area I want to dive into, but here are some qualifying certifications that I have put in place to ensure that I am able to be competitive with the next guy who is not in the military, because that's really what you're up against. And I discovered that as I went through. I signed up for AWS's Educate, which does it's Amazon Web Services Educate, and they get free cloud computing training, which gave me the foundations to at least have the discussion and get through my interview process when I worked at Amazon Web Services. The SANS organization offers free training. The training is important because it allows you to put on your resume that you've completed training. LinkedIn offers tons of free training online. And you get when you sign up, by the way, because you're a veteran, you get a free year of LinkedIn Premium. You should be able to access all the training that's there too. Those are no kidding qualifiers that you can put on your resume that says I'm skilled in understanding and having an intelligent conversation about things that you are interested in a particular position. And it's important to do that. If I can transition real quickly and focus on a service member, I want to transition now to talking to employers. Why is it important? Why Skill Bridge? Why am I even having this conversation? Why are you even part of the conversation? I'm going to tell you why. Because here in Florida, one thing I discovered is that they expanded Skill Bridge opportunities. And bearing that in mind, you now have an opportunity to source from a training program that is designed to improve and enhance a qualified professional to possibly work in your industry. Whether it's the space industry, whether it's the service industry, whether it's banking, whether it's technology. A service member who's gone through the skill-based training program has spent 12 weeks matriculating from a professional career in the military and learning and getting its foot setting, setting a foundation to work in the civilian world in your sector. You couldn't ask for a better opportunity to source an individual who may or may not just finish college. It's great to have college graduates because they're fresh and they're new and they have an abundance of will and have learned. But having a professional who's had practical application of his skill set in the field you're asking is just as valuable as the next graduate. But a lot of them are college graduates, which makes it even better. So now they actually have a college degree backed up by practical skill sets that they're willing to work in the industry. They also understand you understand the value of the person and why you want that individual in there. Because when they come in, they want to work hard. They're mission oriented, they're success oriented, and they're driven to do the right thing. And which means that now you have a quality individual sitting in your organization who will add and enhance to be part of your organization and enhance your corporation to be or your organization or corporation to be better. One thing to consider is that if you want to have a skill bridge member come work for you or be part of, you want to take them on in a fellowship, you got to have a plan for the service member to be there, and it's got to lead to something in the end. Why do I say that? Because if that service member is not just there just to hang out or like a college intern returns back to a job, no, it's a life-changing event for them. And if they're going to spend a minute working and being around you, you probably wouldn't have a plan that helps drive them toward an achievable success in your organization if they're going to be there to learn, be part of it, or at least to walk away with something that makes them more valuable to the community as a whole. It's not always a perfect fit. It isn't, but there's always great potential. People say, well, I was in infantry for 20 years. How does that apply? Well, you're a manager. And the employer said, well, the guy was in infantry for 20 years. What does that do? Well, he's been a manager of people, processes, and functioned in pretty arduous environments, which means that his resiliency and his potential is actually greater to deal with more difficult things that you give them. So if you challenge them with a result, they will fight to get the result done. And that's kind of why you want to look at that individual. There's a definite potential in the person to contribute if you have the opportunity. I always stick with the fact that you have a born leader in the military service member because we train them to be leaders in arduous situations. We train them to understand. We are taught to believe in ourselves, but also believe in the organization and driving successfully the organization. What better way to maximize the capability than to have that person be part of your organization? Veterans Florida is an excellent organization that is hosting this particular expo and is driving toward offering you an opportunity to source from the pool of 50,000 plus service members who will probably matriculate in the Florida region, in the Gulf region in the next several months. It happens every year. No matter what happens, we help people still leave the military. And so you always have access to that pool of people. It's important for all of the audience to understand that the Skill Rich program is not just a program. It's an opportunity to enhance our society with offering veterans an opportunity for employment, but uh, offering I think companies the opportunity to maximize their human capital. And you can ask for a better program that exists. When you go to state to state to state, you hear different stories about unemployed veterans. But there are programs to make them employed. And this is one of the intercedents of that. Is the Department of Defense has decided that they're going to invest in this. So the individual needs to invest in themselves, and I think corporations need to invest in individuals. And I think that's what the walk away on this one is, to be honest with you. I think that's one of the best things that's ever happened. Not many states have done that. To have the state commit itself to a training program for service members, but also a training program that enhances its own enterprise capability within its own state. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. It's a good balancing of the. We always say, "Thank you for your service," and that's great. People say those things, but this is actually putting meat behind it and supporting long-term growth for both the individual and the state as a whole. And I think it's wonderful that the bill was passed. Now we have to put some teeth to it by offering the opportunities for the veterans to go. But I think it's interesting. The demand for fellowships has picked up in the last year nationwide. But I think Florida has a disposition, and more so than any other state, to do that. A, you have more businesses that are moving to Florida. B, it adds to the enterprise growth of the state as a whole. And as you got that going, you have a resource capital in service members who are transitioning between the 50,000 individuals here who are based here between Pensacola all the way down to Miami to have an opportunity to transition effectively and professionally. Bring them on board at our organization as interns. Now the transition to being permanent employees. And as I tell folks, it's an important program for the spouses because they're in a fight with you too. That's why I said before, it's a family thing. It's not just an individual. Remaining in Florida offers you an opportunity to be part of a greater and growing economy, but also meet some of the potential of what you're looking to be. And I say consider those things as you move through. The SkillBridge program itself is a wonderful opportunity for service members. It's a wonderful opportunity for employers, but also it helps make the state of Florida and the nation as a whole a better place. And so that's why I think when you look about SkillBridge, you should drive and apply. Apply on both. Apply for the service member to the program and to maximize it, but also to the employer to set up a program to work with SkillBridge to bring on that individual who can enhance your company long term. And for that, I thank the Veterans Florida for the opportunity to speak to you about this today.